Hey, happy Saturday afternoon. Hope you're doing great. What are you doing this afternoon? I've got a special guest for you. David Meltzer will be joining me in just a minute here. I am going to have a little bit of fun with my friend David Meltzer. David, when you join, we're going to have a little bit of fun. Hi there, Jolie. Wi-Fi Marya, hello. Marketing Master, hola. Military Realtor. Hey there, First Lady. Hope you're doing great. What are you guys doing on this Saturday? I've got my buddy David Meltzer is going to join me in just a second here, and we're going to have a little bit of fun. Hey, Jess, tell me where you're from, and just type in where are you from. Hit the like or the love if you can hear me and see me. Just sitting here on Saturday afternoon having a little bit of fun. Just finished a nice walk down to the beach and back. This self-quarantine is a little crazy, huh? Hi there, Mary. Hello, hello, hello. So fill me in. Where are you from? Greece, Deaconess Deaconess, Scotch. Hi there, Ivan. Drinking coffee in Minneapolis. What are you guys doing for fun? Hello there, Ms. Mirza from Denmark and from Utah. Hello, Elosi. David Meltzer. Hold on, baby. Let me just see. Where's my buddy? Hold on, everyone. I'm going to get my buddy Meltzer on with us. Where is my friend? He's going to join us right now. How many of you know David Meltzer? Hey!
Hey,
What's up, man?
you are in beautiful San Diego. I'm in rainy Orange County right now.
Oh, is it raining out where you are?
Yeah, I almost came down.
Uh, hey, everyone. Do you know David Meltzer? If you don't, I'm going to tell you right away, just follow him. Trust me, just follow his stuff. He does more free training, brilliant training, on Instagram and on other platforms than probably anybody else I know, and one of the most caring, loving, giving guys on this beautiful blue planet. So, David, what are you and the family doing during this crisis? I mean, it is a crisis, right?
I think it's a lot of accelerated change and compressed uncertainty, but that word to me manifests itself. So I always try to say, if I'm looking for a crisis, I'll find one in any day. So I'm looking for the miracle. I put myself in the middle of miracles, try to teach and utilize this situation to help, my younger children. I have 4 children and my niece living with me during this period, to allow them to see a different side and perspective of 2 things, really. I have been pushing toughness in telephone. I keep telling them, hey, there's no tough situations. There's just tough people. And this is a great opportunity to learn all the aspects of a telephone. Because if we're going to survive and utilize the connectivity of the future, this device that I'm on right now is meant for a lot more than Snapchat and Instagram. And so I'm teaching them the mobility of ubiquity and toughness. But for me, it's a blessing, as you as well, I'm sure. I know that there will be no other period of my life where all my family will sit down and eat dinner every single night with nowhere else to go. I just know that's a reality. This is the most valuable thing in my life. I've been to Super Bowl, Pro Bowls, Masters, Kentucky Derby, award shows, and I will trade all those experiences for each of these nights of dinner with my entire family, which I know once we get through this with the vaccine, that those kids will be with their friends as fast as they can.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's a question for all of you that are watching me and David Meltzer. How many of you are tougher than any circumstance? Just hit the like or hit the love button over there. How many of you are tougher than any circumstance? Hit that love button to say, John, I'm tougher. David, I'm tougher than this. One of the things I learned many years ago, just on that note, was no matter what a problem is, let's call it a problem, we are bigger than the problem, right? So if we see ourselves as bigger than it, and we focus on the opportunities, then I think we can all get through this and hopefully thrive during this, and take all the beautiful things that are actually coming out of it. Like you and I rarely get a chance, even though we're good friends, rarely get a chance to do this. And we've done it like 2 or 3 times in the last 3 weeks.
It's awesome, and I learned so much. I think another thing too, John, that you taught with your inner size is that, it's a matter of what we have control of, and that toughness stems from our mindset, our feelings, what we say, what we hear, and of course what we do. And this is a great time to practice all four of those things. And you're a big practice person as well as I, and understanding that our disciplines and our habits and these inherent strategies are what determine our future, regardless of what external circumstances happen, how quickly they happen, or how much change happened within them.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that a lot of people are talking about right now is resiliency. I was actually just on a call with some educators, and they were talking about the teachers, the students, the parents, and how resiliency is coming up, big time right now. And there's a lot of things, or many things, that we can do to be more resilient. And one of the things I have discovered is the people who choose to be resilient are more resilient. And it's really as simple as saying, I'm resilient. And as soon as you say that, guess what? You are more resilient. What are you finding with your students who've read your amazing book and follow your amazing work? And for those who just joined, follow David Meltzer for sure. He's got just some amazing stuff for you to learn from. What are you finding? The people that have been reading your book and the people that are applying all the principles that you teach are thinking and doing right now? I think you are reconnecting.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's
So
if you heard my question.
give that last second. I just heard that one of my students that have read all my books, and
Yeah.
What am I hearing?
What are you hearing from them? What are they doing? What are they feeling? Just
let's
share some bombs, some truth bombs.
Yeah, a lot want to know how to stay motivated, and I have to help them understand the difference between motivation and inspiration, which is a great opportunity to explain how, you use what I've learned from you, the law of Goya, which is get off your ass, which is a motivation, right? Fear can motivate us, uncertainty can motivate us, but it's going to get you started. It's not going to get you there. And what I want to help people understand is inspiration gets you there. And what does that mean? And so I'm coming up with as many analogies as I can. And the one that I have that's working the best is about, I've always said there's light, love, and lessons in everything, that nobody loves 100% of anything, including our spouses, right? And one of the blessings that we have, and we both have we've outkicked our coverage, but I have learned to love the percentage of things I don't love, that naturally I might not even like. And at times I even disdain. It's the worst, like taking out the trash. And so I've made a practice of learning to love things. And that learning to love is the way that we find the light, love, and lessons in everything. So there's a sun out there right above you right now. And that sun carries so much energy. And the sun is light, love, and lessons. And our egos create clouds. And we have two aspects of what we want to do. We want to clear the clouds so we can suck as much of the energy from the sun as we can. But we're not just solar panels and batteries. We're appreciating solar panels and batteries. We can take the light, the love, and the lessons from the sun, bring them through us, and appreciate them, add value to them. We hold our own energy as well. So imagine the sun hitting your solar panel, staying in your home battery, and then gaining more power. And then we're distributing it to everybody else. We're distributing it, and then there's this interference here. So this is a perfect time to work on clearing the clouds first, and then learning to distribute your power, to elevate others, to elevate yourself, to empower others with your quantum skills, knowledge, and most importantly, what I'm hearing in that motivation, inspiration, conflict, understanding is truly, that you talk about resilience. I found one common denominator is becoming more and more clear to me about people that are living fulfilled life, not victimized life, not filled life, but fulfilled lives. They must be what they can be. That's as simple as it is. People that are resilient must be what they can be. They wake up every morning, no matter what the circumstances. Viktor Frankl to Jesus Christ, to whoever it is in history, they all carried one thing. And all the super Hall of Famers, they asked me, what's the common denominator for the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Every one of those players, not all of them were that talented, but they all must be what they can be. And that's what I want to instill in my children, my friends, my families, associates, my community. Let's all pursue our potential to must be what we can be.
I love it. What's interesting is you're talking about the sun. and it's heating up my phone right now, and it's dimming my light. One of the things that you said, and I don't remember the words you chose, but I thought of it as we are the magnifiers, right? So we're either the magnifiers of that sun, that energy, positivity, or we're the magnifiers of the negativity. And then when you're seeking to become, what you're supposed to become, a lot of times, as you mentioned, I think you used the word there may be clouds in the way,
Yeah.
right?
Ego,
It's hard.
ego clouds.
And our job is to remove the clouds. By the way, for those of you who don't know David Meltzer, he's a dear friend of mine, author, highly successful business owner, has experienced highs and lows of biblical proportions, shares the lessons from both as I love to. So he's real without all of the bullshit pretending that everything's always perfect. We both know, and any successful person knows, that there's good times, challenging times, ups, downs, highs, lows, things that work, things that don't, and we learn from all of them and we rise from all of them, right?
Yeah, and hypocrisy, I talk about inventory right now. When you get a pause, we're able to take inventory of a whole bunch of things, and I, all the way from basic things, like I take inventory where you put your wallet, your phone, and your keys, because 80 hours a year is spent looking for what you've lost. And the most common things are your keys, your wallet, and your phone. So take inventory of that, but also take inventory of your values. What a great opportunity. I was with Marshall Falk, who has the same personality that we do. Go, 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 go. And his mom in Louisiana is like, Marshall, finally you can sit down and take inventory. And he was asking me, what do you think she meant by that? I said, take inventory of your values. You need to sit down and say, this is what personally, where those personal dinners, I thought I was such a fantastic dad and such a fantastic husband. Once again, I'm a hypocrite, because when I had time to look and take inventory of my values, I spent a lot of time on the road the last 10 years, and I could have done a better job, and I want to do a better job at being a husband and a father. And then my experiential values, where do those lie? And the giving values, someone put in here, you all donate? And I know you and I both allow everything to come through us for others. And there's always a charitable purpose, cause, or a higher being and purpose to what we do. And then most importantly, I gotta share this story because we're laws of the universe and laws of Goya people. The law of receiving, right? Like, I just think that right now, if you can practice receiving, and I know there's a scarce energy out there, there's a fearful energy, but I am getting these unbelievable stories. I had a guy today, my favorite story, met him at the backstop at the baseball game. He's on crutches. My son, 10 years old, is playing, and I just gave him some advice, right? From situational knowledge. It wasn't some genius advice. It was, to be humble and to ask. All these basic things that I believe in and I teach that I didn't do, which is how I lost everything in 2008, and it's how I got it back. Well, anyway, he calls me and says, hey, in the middle of all this, I'd like to make this big donation to your charity. Your choice, Dave. I was like, oh my gosh, that's great. I said, why? He said, you don't remember me. I was the blonde hair guy on the crutches. You changed my life. I said, well, how did I do that? He said, you gave me this great advice. I started following you. And he said, I have a salon wear company. And 32 days ago, it went bust, right? There's no salons open. Spas and salons are closed. And I as I'm making a good amount of money every month, but not great, just enough to live month to month, where I live up in Orange County. And I said, well, how are you donating me money? You went broke. He said, well, I sat there and watched your videos, and I kept saying, you got to ask. You got to ask for help. This is what we do. Create a flow, create a flow. And so he went back to all his customers that bought the salon stuff, and he said, what can I do to be of service? What do you need? And he had these huge clients that have multiple spas and salons around the world, some big hospitality places that needed what? Face masks. And he realized he could manufacture. So he's made millions of dollars. He transformed his manufacturing to face masks, and he's made millions of dollars in the last 16 days, helping people. And so, these basic inventories of what we're doing to reassess, pretend like you just graduated college and someone said, hey, you get to go back to college knowing what you know now.
That is great. So I saw that Ricky Menendez joined as well. Hey, Ricky. How you doing, buddy? There he is. What's interesting is one of the individuals I enjoy watching his shows, Chris Cuomo, and I think he's a pretty straight shooter on CNN, and he's had coronavirus, and he keeps saying something that I totally agree with. He says, these types of times bring out the best in humanity and bring out the worst in humanity. And there's people out there taking advantage of other people, and there's people out there making a huge difference in the lives of people. And we get to see both. And that duality is always there. The duality is always there. There's scarcity and there's abundance. There's fear and there's courage. There's people who take advantage and people who give more than they probably should. And one of the things that a lot of people just don't get is both are always there. The law of polarity is always there in the universe that we live in. Now, sometimes it's not in perfect balance at the same time, but it's always there. So I love hearing stories of people that are making a difference right now and rising up to helping each other. So, and you're one of them, by the way.
Oh.
I wanted to have you on this, just Saturday afternoon, two buddies talking.
Yeah, it's the law of oneness, right? And giving and receiving are one. In that duality, I studied the Course in Miracles for the last 5 years, and that duality is one in which I'm actually studying today. And that, when we see things as separate, they are, but I think that's the duality of oneness. I have a rule of the lemon that I've taught myself because I've been under pressure in 93, 97, 2001, 2008, especially. And I realized that when you squeeze a lemon juice comes out. And I know it's not a perplexing reason why. It's because that's what's inside a lemon. And the thing I like about being squeezed is I get to see what kind of juice is inside of me. And I get to see the sour and the sweet and the spicy and the salty and say to myself, what do I want to change, right? Where is that weakness? Because in football, I'm a big sports guy. There's a rule. The ball will always find the weakest player. It's a rule of football. The ball will always find the weakest player. And when you get to squeeze yourself, you know that the universe will find that weakest spot because it wants to teach you lessons, and it teaches you by having physical, mental, emotional, financial, spiritual pain. This is the indicator that says, hey, buddy, you got to learn something. This is like the school bell to me, right? I always say the pain is like a school bell. It's like, come into class, Emo. Come here, buddy. You got a big class here. It's time to study, to be more interested and interesting, time to ask for help, trying to learn humility. Here we go. And that's a really important lesson for everybody, to feel good about the lemon juice, to feel good about the pain, and to smile through the struggle.
I love that. That's such a great analogy. The universe, I've learned many, many times over that in many cases we get the test first and then the lesson. So right now we're all getting a test. And I love, I teach that SEMP model of spiritual, emotional, mental, physical, and I've added the financial side right now. So if you fit into the spectrum of you weren't financially ready, there's an opportunity to do whatever it takes to be financially ready the next time and to survive and thrive now. If you weren't mentally or emotionally or physically or business wise ready, then what can you do? And so how do you protect yourself and evolve and grow? And when I was on here the other day, I was wearing a hat that's in the gym. It says evolve or become extinct. And right now we are having an opportunity for forced evolution. We have to learn new technologies, new ways to use our time, new communication skills, lots of new stuff. And that's part of universe and nature's intelligence saying, watch this. Just when you got comfortable and just when you thought everything was okay or things weren't okay, I'm going to throw this twist in the tail for you and let's see how well you do. And I was teaching a seminar yesterday, David, online. I said to people, I'm going to say something that's a little bit harsh. And is it okay? And I asked for permission. I'm going to ask people the same question. Is it okay if I share with you something harsh? And people said, yeah, sure, share something harsh. And I said, nature doesn't think twice about inflicting capital punishment.
Yeah.
And specifically, when you look at nature, forget about our emotions and our mindset. The universe operates, survival of the fittest, emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, spiritually, whatever the case is. And so this gives all of us a chance to align our values, as you said, with our behaviors and give us a chance to level up the weak areas when we see what's coming out of this, the lemon as you said. So you have to have a strong mindset to accept that as truth, I think. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think that the mindset that I've been working on and studying and reading from your stuff basically too is this idea that time's the ultimate man-made construct, right? Time is the ultimate man-made construct. So when we look at things in a competitive nature of being evolved and survival of the fittest, what if we extract time and say we're going to live billions of lifetimes in this evolution? This is just one story. And I love the phase of life now with these video games where you have different levels, because I think it's a great analogy and a great depiction of lifetimes and of time itself. To as Blaine Bartlett taught me, we see time in a linear space. What if you turned it horizontal and we start living our lives this way? Things take on a different perspective. In fact, I extract time when I try to make the most faithful decisions in my life, and to understand what would I do if there was no such thing as time. And I will tell everyone that a lot of times I still make a pragmatic decision based on the currency of money, even though it's not a faithful decision. I'm too afraid. I say to myself, I have daughters in college, or I have mortgages, or people that are waiting for payroll. And these are all within the linear construct of the man-made construct of time. And I can't be brave enough or courageous enough to say, you know what, a faithful decision would be to do this. I'm going to go ahead and make a pragmatic, lower vibrating decision, even though I know in my lifetime, 100% of the time I make faithful decisions, they turn out much better. But I think it's okay for people to understand time in the sense too that, and I've been talking about this, if we can realize that we're getting incremental and exponential growth at all times, we won't quit. We won't quit. And the strategy that I'm giving, or exercise I give to people that changed my life, is take the smallest measurement you can find, a millimeter, a nanometer. I don't care what measurement you want to find. Take one of the smallest ones that's not even detectable by an eye, and double it per segment, and count how many segments it takes until it gets to a significant amount. Just double it. Keep doubling the nanomillimeter, whatever you want. Keep doubling it. And then get an idea of how many segments in your life, and then apply the linear nature to time to it. So like for me, when I was building my audience here on social media, as the middle-aged man of social media, one of the first, I told Gary Vaynerchuk, who was the legend, I was like, man, all I want is 2 ambassadors a year to get me 2 people that will love Dave Meltzer and be inspired and impact others with what I teach. And he said, really?
I'm one of those.
I love
Dave Meltzer.
Yeah, you are. And
I love
they came faster.
learning from you and learning with you.
And vice versa. And the cool thing about 2 was he said, why? I said, because I believe that if 2 gets 2 gets 2, I said, I kind of take a Noah's Ark approach to things. But, it only takes 20 segments to get me to 2 million people getting me 2 million people. And whether that's 20 years or 20 months, I'm plenty patient. And I'm fine with 2 a year. And when I was 70, it was going to be 2 million. I'm blessed. It's happening faster because I detached my emotions from that outcome. And I believe in this, exponential incremental growth. And it allows me never to quit.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. The compounding effect. All right, so I'm going to ask everybody who's watching right now, instead of 2 people following David Meltzer, I want all of you to follow David Meltzer. And let's give him 50x ROI today. Here's what I promise you. You're going to learn an enormous amount from this man on every front. So fill me in on what is your daily routine like now? Now that you're home, you're not traveling all over the world, teaching on stages and consulting and coaching people, from traveling. What's your daily routine like now?
Well, first of all, I think everyone should have a daily routine and an adaptable routine.
What routine?
Adaptable routine, yeah.
Adaptable.
So daily and adaptable. I've always had both. And so I was blessed when I came home that although I only had a daily routine for 100 of the 365 days, that I had a daily routine. And here's how it goes. I live my whole day today to make sure I wake up tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. It's very important. So I study sleep, number 1, to make sure that I'm going to sleep in a certain way at a certain time, digesting the right nutritions at the right time, very serious about waking up at 4 a.m. Pacific time. First 20 minutes is to find my highest frequency. I believe I get one action in the day. Everything else is a reaction. So I meditate. That's how I find my highest frequency for 20 minutes. Meditation in a form called theta meditation, which is vibrational. Then I take 10 minutes to get ready and I go work out. Used to be at the gym. Now it's either I Peloton or I go run outside or whatever I can do for an hour. And then at 5:30 to 6:30 is research time. That means, take notes for my book, research for my day. I'm a student of my calendar. I study what I have planned. I study what I don't have planned, and I study sleep. At 6:30 to 7:30 is family time. I make breakfasts, lunches, whatever I need to do. Now, a little different, but always with my 10-year-old at least. Everyone else is still sleeping. 7:30, I do executive coaching calls until 8 o'clock. I then execute as a student of my calendar on the day, what I have planned, what I don't have planned. When I say execute, I have a lens. It's called the Meltzer kaleidoscope. One lens is productivity. I want to see how much value I can provide, how much service I can provide in everything that I do. One lens is accessibility. How accessible am I to others? By prioritizing who's most important, family, associates, clients, and then my community. And so you have accessibility is also how am I accessing what I want? So aligned with my personal experiential giving and receiving values, and then a lens of gratitude to make sure everything is that I'm the chief betterment officer of my day. I want everything to get better with the lens of gratitude. And so when I execute till 4:45, 4:45, I do 3 more coaching calls, executive calls. 5:30 to 7:30, everything goes off. It's not the time to call, text, email, DM Dave Meltzer because I am off the grid with only family. And then from 9 o'clock, 7:30 to 9 is more research time, books, student in my calendar again, optional time with the family. But 9 o'clock to 11, I then try to spend with my family. I gear down to go to sleep or pass out. I try to stay up to 11. I used to get in trouble with my wife because she used to call me a hypocrite and a liar when people say, well, what time do you go to bed? I would tell everyone, Dave Meltzer goes to bed at 11 and I wake up at 4. The truth is, Dave Meltzer tries to stay up at 11. Sometimes he makes it to 8, 9, or 9:15. But there are several days during the week that Dave Meltzer actually passes out on the button at 11. But I would say half or not more of the time he's passing out before 11. But I am focused on making sure I don't miss waking up without an alarm as a condition in my quantum nature at 4 a.m. I am awake.
Love it. Well, I was right there next to your time zone at 4 a.m. this morning. Went to sleep right around 10 o'clock and woke up at 4 as well. I've been waiting between 4 and 5. One of the things I want to point out to everybody who's watching us right now, almost every single person I know that has achieved some levels of success in their lives, I'd say probably 95% of my personal friends all have a ritual. They're not all the same, but they all have rituals, what I call their success rituals, whether it's their health success rituals, their spiritual success rituals, their financial success rituals, relationship success rituals. They all have these rituals that are the cornerstone, of their success. And so I don't know if you and I have ever talked about our rituals, but it's great to see that you have one. I'm curious to know how many of you have rituals. If you have a ritual, say, yeah, John, I've got a ritual. And if you want to take a moment and just type it out, then I'll go after this call and look at it, and everybody else can see what everybody here is doing. And maybe you can pick one of David's or, one from somebody else. And so do use this time like a little mastermind. Here's what I do in the morning. Here's what I do in the afternoon. Here's what I do in the evening. Here's how I open my day, close my day, whatever the case might be. David, if somebody was to read just one of your books, which one would you recommend for them to get started? Where would you send them?
Yeah, Connected to Goodness is my first book. It tells my story and then gives my principles to manifest everything in life and business. A very Think and Grow Rich like book. In fact, they mentored me in my very first book. I spent the most time on it, and I think it has the most impact of anything I've ever written. And so more than happy to give that for free to anyone and pay for shipping or the ebook of it. More than happy. You can get it on Amazon if you're not someone who likes to get stuff for free. I understand, but I have given away, my favorite thing about it is I've given away more copies than I've ever dreamed of, and I sell more because of it. I don't understand how that works, but I love that. But I'm more than happy. It's not, I'm charging you for shipping. So Connected to Goodness is the name of the book, to 7 principles and 4 key elements, very pragmatic spiritual book like Think and Grow Rich. I have had many multimillionaires tell me that they have followed that discipline that I live by in order to pull myself out of bankruptcy. And the lessons I've learned that are value-based and inspiration is the key to that book. So I think, that by far would be the one I would suggest.
Where do they get it? Like, where would they go get it? Like, where?
Everywhere, Amazon, Kindle, it's everywhere if they want, but they can email me, david@dmeltzer.com, david@dmeltzer.com, or text me 949-298-2905. But you can Google David Meltzer.
949
298
298
2905.
2905 298 2905 949. I text David, get his book, pay for the shipping.
Yeah, we do, and I do training on that book. I do a lot of training for free. My big training is 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern time, every Friday. Road to Revenue. Last week was the Habit Machine. This week is 5 to Thrive. So it's a formulatic way that has been very successful, not only for me, but for many people.
Love it, love it, love it. All right, so David, I'm going to turn the tables around. Since I'm got you on my channel, I'm going to let you ask any question you want me to answer that you might have an interest. And so
I love it. So my first and most valuable question is that when things change quickly, you being one of my mentors, and I love the way you perceive things, what's the biggest lesson that you've learned in this period of time where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't know what I didn't know. I have these big hypocrite moments right now that I'm like, come on, Dave, I can't believe you let your ego do that. What's the biggest lesson that you've learned?
Well, there's a lot, but one of them that sticks out to my mind right now is I always want to be on the cutting edge, of what's going on. So, I want to know technology. I want to know, what's happening in the world. So I'm always reading and researching. And I have really regimented routines, very, very disciplined to my routines. Well, my ego, I think, got the best of me in the first 3 weeks of this coronavirus, where I was doing so much learning and talking to so many people and reading so many things. I was exhausting myself, and I wasn't working out every morning like I do. So, I'd get up, I'd be tired, I'd go down to my office here at home. And then, before I knew it, it was 4 or 5 o'clock. I'd be too tired to work out, so I wouldn't work out. So I let myself drop my habits. Even though I preach and I talk about how important your habits are, I was like, what are you doing? How many more days are you going to come up with the stories and the excuses and the reasons why you're going to do it tomorrow? And so I was being incongruent, right, with what I tell people: leave the stories behind, leave the excuses behind, stop rationalizing. And so about a week ago, I got back onto my routine, but I was totally incongruent, thinking I've got to be on that cutting edge, and I had my own story and excuse.
I love that. Well, just to warn anyone, if John invites you to go walking with him, that means a full body workout. Very little walking, a lot of running upstairs and sprinting and running and high knees, push-ups, pull-ups. And if you're lucky enough to go with his sons, you really get pushed because their medium workout, they're probably hungover and they're still 6 times as fast and as strong as I'll ever be. But John, you won't believe it, he's a little older than me, and boy, I left my house, I came back, my wife's like, what's the matter? I said, oh my God, I thought I was going walking, and I had already run 3 miles in the morning thinking I'd get my workout in. I go, oh my gosh, the last wind sprints we were doing. So thank you for the walk. Another question, you talk about inner size, obviously, and the practice of our brain. And I have been a student of this conscious, subconscious, and unconscious continuum. And I believe you're the one that actually set me on a path when I was shocked the first time we did an interview and you're like, well, I really don't believe in the law of attraction. You know, and you started explaining to me this new way of looking at things. And it formulated to me that my actions, this law of Goya that fed from a sensory cortex of my cellular structure into my brain, that created these habits and disciplines that create my future because they impact my quantum memory, my DNA through this epigenetic layer. And then that, I believe, and this is where my question lies, I believe that in this quantum nature of ours, that we have a vibration and a frequency. And that's actually what is creating a signal, a strength of a signal, a spectrum of a signal, and a clarity that talks to all these different channels and allows the coincidences that already have happened to be aware, are aware in our being. And so I was hoping that you could kind of twist and turn and improve, shine up, polish my soul, my thinking right here. I'm going to use the doctor right here to tell me, okay, Dave, this is how I would maybe think about it and make it easier for not only for me to understand what I'm trying to say, but for other people to understand what I'm trying to say.
Oh, that's a lot to digest. So, you know, whenever part of the challenge I've had with people talking about the law of attraction is the misconception or understanding, you know, of energy, frequency, and the nature of the universe and the cosmos. But if we were to all agree that, you know, whether it's my, you know, second pair of reading glasses here or this, you know, case for my, you know, my other sunglasses over here or my hand or my shirt, everything is energy. The sun that's above me is energy. My hand is energy, and everything is vibrating. I think everybody would agree on that. I think everybody else would agree that, you know, if you're sitting in a radio station and let's say the radio station that you work for or own is predominantly rock and roll. And so that radio station has got all the equipment to send out the signal of rock and roll music. And the end user who's sitting there, you know, at home or in her car, you know, or walking on a trail with her mobile phone could take and tune in to the frequency that's being broadcast and just lock in on that frequency. And that means that classical music is not being heard, jazz is not being heard, punk rock is not being heard. Just that one frequency called rock and roll that you tune into is what you're hearing. And if you're a rock and roll station, that's what you're sending out through your technology. So what do you think you as a human being are sending out? If your brain is what's responsible for the vibration of 100 trillion cells that are all vibrating and oscillating at the level of your interpretations of what's happening around you and the thoughts that you have, are you sending out a signal that is clear about your vision, about your goals, about your intentions, about your love, about your care, about your compassion, around your courage, around your bravery? Or are you creating that vibration of fear and anxiety and stress and uncertainty and lack of confidence, etc.? Like, what are you broadcasting? If we would just say broadcasting, that would be a beginner stage of saying, if I am made up of energy, which you are, and you own all of the hardware, the software, the tools, the organs, the organism called your brain, is it possible for us to be vibrating mentally, emotionally, and at the gut level in coherence, in harmony? And the answer is, of course it is. Now, is it a skill? Yeah, we have the most powerful. Yesterday when I was doing a training, David, I asked people, I said, hey, I've got a question for you. If I gave you a computer system worth $1 trillion that could solve almost any problem on the planet, and can help you be healthy and can help you make as much money as you want, and can help you make a difference in the world, can help you help other people, and can help you have a great relationship. If I gave you a computer that was capable of doing that, would you want one? And 100% of people says, yes, I would want one. I said, guess what? You already have one. It's called your brain. You just don't realize how powerful it is, and you don't realize what the owner's manual is for it. And so you're stumbling around with the most powerful supercomputer that we can't even create for $1 trillion. And why not start learning how to use that first so you can tune in to the frequencies of abundance and of love and of care and of everything that you want right now. And so when we talk about the law of attraction, it's actually the law of resonance. When we sit at the piano and we hit the A440 key, how is it that 20 feet away the chandelier starts to vibrate when there's no strings tying the two together? Or how is it that the tuning fork works? If you want to understand energy, study Tesla's work, and his understanding of energy and vibration. And so for me, the law of attraction and the law of energy isn't, sit there and think about stuff. That's part one. It isn't sit there and feel stuff. That's part two. But it's think, feel, believe, and get off your ass and do the thing. Move in the vibration of that you're seeking, because it is not just seeking you, it's already here. But if you have got a part of you that is, positive, but another part of you 2 seconds later or 1 second later is negative or doesn't believe it, then you are canceling out the signals.
Yeah.
So in the ocean, sorry, and you probably know this, but I just leave everybody
No, please.
with one more thought. In the ocean, right, just behind me, if there's a 4-foot wave and it intersects with another 4-foot wave, a lot of people think it cancels each other out, but it doesn't. If it intersects at just the right place, it moves to an 8-foot wave, right? And so the key is, are you in harmony with all the other waveforms, music, all the other waveforms around your idea, your vision, and your goals? Because if you are, then you will intersect and rise bigger than you would on your own. That's the law of resonance. That's the law of energy. That's more of the law of attraction that I know and teach and participate in every day.
And do you believe that law of resonance, the higher we vibrate, the higher the frequency, the more we can be aware?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So you can be aware of that's below. Now, one thing that I'm just bagging because I'm just ego, right? So in the law of resonance, in the vibration of this ego that edges goodness out or God out or gold out of our life, and understanding the brain like you do and the vibration, why is it that, in an omnipresent, positive, abundant world, why is it that we have this negative charge? Or how do you perceive the negative charge? Is it something that's making us expand and accelerate? Well, what is the purpose of that?
Okay, so when we go to the spiritual side of our being, and when I talk about spiritual, I don't mean religious. I'm talking about if we think about planet Earth and the 108 billion inhabitants that have walked on Earth, with almost 8 billion that live here now, and the animals and the trees and the and everything in it, the plants and everything in it, whatever you call that which created it is irrelevant. But I think we would all agree that there isn't even a word for me to use to describe how intelligent this intelligence is. It's just beyond comprehension for my brain, except when I am connected to source in my meditations, etc. But if we were to think, as I'm sitting here on the western coast, of the United States, as Earth is spinning at 25,000 miles an hour, and the sun over there, 93 million miles away from us, is warming up my face because the heat that's coming out from that sun is taking 8 minutes, or just a little bit over 8 minutes, to reach me, and the moon and all the other planets are in perfect elliptical orbits around that sun. That intelligence didn't just create me, it is within me. So I am it, and it is in me. And so what if I started to operate from that place every moment? What if every person that I saw and I talked to, no matter how wealthy or how poor, no matter how healthy or how unhealthy, I saw, and I call it God? What if I treated that person, that plant, that animal as God? Because that which created us is within us. If we took the ocean water that's over there and we took a bucket 1,000 miles inland, I would still have that part of the source. Well, if the source created all of us and all of it and everything, then that means that source must be within us. Well, why not start to remember that, right? And so in a roundabout way, if spirit, that side of us, is for fuller expression and expansion of itself, and it wants survival of that above all else, it equipped us, okay, with a bunch of sensory tools, specifically in our brain, part of it that's called the amygdala, for survival and for the avoidance of pain and discomfort and change, so that we can slowly evolve to remember, okay, this part of our nature. And so there's a multifaceted approach to looking at this. But for me, the ego in many cases is not our amigo, and it is moving us away from that as a contrast frame to be able to remember how spectacular every human being really is.
Yeah, and to remember is to come together. Acknowledge is to acquire the knowledge. All of these words, as I got older and started studying exactly under the context that you're suggesting what these words would mean. And, we let that word remember just go by for so many years. And it's such a powerful word, like collaboration and command, right? To work with. To work with is to command. That's why wishes and commandments are so important, because instead of we've changed or diversed from what it really means to work together and to collaborate and to reunite and to remember and to acknowledge. All of these words are within that same system of source. I always say, if we knew truly what walked within us in the path that we chose, right, there would be no conflict with the ego.
That's right.
There would be no separation. And so we have to remember what it is that is within us. And how I love the operating system problem, because so many people, I think a great analogy is, would you sit down to a brand new, camera, computer, iPhone, and just start using it and never look to see, any of the operations of it? And that's, I think, what we do with our existence.
Yes.
We're not looking at how we operate.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. By the way, everyone, this is what David and I talk about when we get together for dinner or for lunch or for a walk. This is the dialogue we have.
Yeah.
Think about this. How do you explain that? What really great book, have you read that, gave you some insights? And so hopefully you've enjoyed this. For those of you that have been joining or just joined, I'm with my good friend David Meltzer, who's got a monster following on social media because he gives so much value. And so if you highly recommend you follow him. I do. I chime in when he's doing interviews or doing trainings, which he does. He has so many posts every day. I'm listening and watching, because this guy's brilliant. So please take a look at his work and support his desire to help millions of people also. And with that said, my friend, I want to thank you for just doing this, and on a Saturday afternoon, agreeing to do this. I called David like a day or two ago. I said, hey, you want to do something with me on Saturday afternoon and say hello to everybody from around the world? And he says, sure, I'll do it. He always says yes.
I'm an old man of the Instagram, and so a lot of people have been forced into this more recently, right, John? And I will tell you this, what's so impressive with your following, I do these all the time, and it's very rare that you see the amount of people. They'll normally dissipate down, and it's amazing. It's been raising up, so people are out there saying, hey, these guys have some good ideas to share, and hopefully we made an impact and a difference on a Saturday, which is not bad. I will do this anytime you want. You can come online anytime you want. I love you so much. Send my love to your beautiful wife.
And to your wife and kids as well. I love you too, brother. Thank you for being such a beautiful, shining light in the world of positivity and possibility, and also showing people how to. A lot of times it's not just a matter of motivation, but okay, it's motivation, great, inspiration, great, but do this, right? And here's how. And so thank you for being such a a great light again. Do me a favor, David. Give people a way to get your book for free again.
Yeah, so just email me is easiest, david@dmeltzer.com, or text me 949-298-2905. Google David Meltzer, you'll find me as well. I will pay for shipping, so if you like to read an old school book at home, I will send it out, pay for shipping, or you just get the ebook or audiobook. I'll send them all for free. Just spread the word and empower others to be happy. That's my mission in life. And John is one of my 1,000 that's happened and helping me do so. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Hey, everyone. Thank you for following my work. I truly appreciate that you take time to invest with me and my work and my passion of helping as many people as possible strengthen mindset and emotional skills so they can achieve their goals, dreams faster and easier than ever before. I appreciate you. God bless you. Have an awesome Saturday afternoon and Sunday. Bye, everyone. Thank you.